Alright guys, so today I'm going to be showing you all of my hotkeys that I'm currently using. I'll try to go through them, every single one. I'll give like a little explanation why it's important to use this hotkey, and yeah, I'll just go from there. So I'll start from the top. So unit commands, attack ground. This is like when you have mangonels, bombard cannons. It's a super important hotkey to have on, so I recommend you find a hotkey to use, which is like super easy to press for this, because you're going to be pressing attack ground a lot. And also like the way I set up my hotkeys is, think of your keyboard. All the keys on the left side of the keyboard, which are easy for me to press, these hotkeys will be the most important ones. And the hotkeys that are not as important, like go to university, build a university, building a market, they're like quite far away on the other side. So this is how I kind of set up my hotkeys, right? So like the most important things closer to my left hand, and the least important things just, you know, further away. So go to change modes. I have these on B, super easy to press. Whenever you're playing Rather and stuff, you like to, you know, swap like attack mode from like range to melee. And we have convert on Q, delete units. I started using F1 because I saw Viper using it and Tato using it and these guys using it. And I found this a lot easier than using delete, because every single time I'm going to delete a building, I'm like sometimes taking my hand off my mouse to press the delete key, or I'm like reaching across, where F1 it's just, you know, it's right here. It's super easy to have. Drop resources are, you know, super easy hotkey to press. Drop relic. I added this recently, actually. This is very important for me. Sometimes when I'm bringing monks back, you know, with relics in my base, and a knight's chasing it, I click on the monk, and instead of like moving my mouse cursor all the way down to the bottom, you know, you just instantly press the relic, you know, drop relic, convert. Super important hotkey as well. I've been using this a lot recently, actually. Economic buildings on A, super easy key for me to press. Garrison on G. Heal? Oh, I'm not using heal, actually. I just right-click the unit. I have military buildings on S. I have pack on X. Very easy to use. Remove gather point. I don't actually use that, so I'll remove it. Repair on E. Another super important hotkey that should be very close to your, like, you know, dominant hand, so to speak. Seek shelter F, very easy to press. T, super easy to press. And this hotkey here, this is a new one. Second opponent on self. This is very important hotkey because if you have like 10 stables and then you have like a waypoint on the other side of the map, instead of going through every single stable and setting the waypoint back on top of itself, you literally just press shift, my mouse button, and all the waypoints make the unit's garrison inside the building. This is very important. I've recently just started using this. This is also quite new, I think, so super good. I have stop on tab. Easy key for me to press. On garrison Z. I think unload and ungarrison is the same. I'm not sure. Unload siege on T. I'm not sure about these ones. I'm still kind of figuring this out. Okay, so let's go to game commands. I won't talk too much about these ones. I'll just, you know, go through them. If you want to pause the video, you can have a look. Not much has changed here. I think this is all pretty much default, except from... I have flare and alt F. I just found that a bit easier. I don't use any of these minimap things. I can actually remove these. Like, if I'm not going to use them, I can remove them. That's like also a good thing you should also take from this. If you're not using a hotkey, you should probably remove it so it doesn't clash with other things and so you don't accidentally press it. So menu, I don't use that ever. I can remove that. Flare, I use that. Statistics, I use that. Yeah, so actually, I can just keep removing a few of these I don't use. Select all ranges, select all barracks. I don't use select all. If you're new to the game, I recommend you use this, but I think as you get a bit better at the game, I think it's better to control group them. Because if I have a barracks at home and I have a barracks behind my opponent's base, I don't want to make units from both the barracks. Maybe I want to hide it. So I think you should control group your military buildings when you get a bit better at the game. Maybe like 2k level, something like that. You know, select all blacksmiths, control C. I use select all instead of go to because if I'm fighting in my opponent's base, I don't want to go back to my home base to like do an upgrade. I want to be fighting my opponent, keep my eyes on my army, and then I select my blacksmith, the little UI comes up in the bottom, and I can click all the, you know, the upgrades, instead of like jumping backwards and forwards from your army to your base. I found this super helpful. Some people like it, some people don't like it, but I like it. Same with castles. I just control group my docks, so I can remove that as well. Select all dungeons, I don't use that, I can remove that. Select all idle land navy military units. I don't use this either, so I can remove it. I use the select visible ones. I don't use that, remove it. I don't use any of this actually, I didn't even know this was in the game. Select all idle villages. I recommend this button is on your mouse. I think this is like super easy, so what I do is the scroll wheel, I just push it down. I think this is a super nice button for idle vills. Okay, so select all land and naval military units. I have this on caps lock. The one annoying thing about it is when I'm typing in game chat, sometimes my messages are in full caps because, you know, I press this button a few times and a caps lock comes on. So that's the only downside. But apart from that, I like this. Select all lumber camps. I have the same lumber camps, mining camps, and mills. Yeah, I use select all for all of these instead of go to. You know, just the same explanation as the barracks one. I mean, as the blacksmith one, sorry. Select all mule carts. I'm not using this at the moment. Yeah, so I can remove that. Select all monasteries. I use go to monastery. I just find it easier because I can tell a monk to pick up a relic, go back to my monastery and deposit it. I just find that easier. I don't use any of this. Remove, remove, remove. I have my town centers on 5. I was watching Viper. He uses control group 5 for his town centers. But the issue with this was sometimes I wasn't having all of my town centers in my control group because I was like misclicking. So what I did was I removed control group 5 and I added select all TCs to number 5. I like this a lot. This is very useful for me and I don't use that. Select all universities. Highly recommend to have this on an easy to press button. And my visible land and navy military units on space, very easy to press. I don't use much cycling. I don't go to buildings as much as I probably should. Like I have like, you know, go to range on shift A and shift S and stuff like that. I don't recommend that. I recommend these should be on like a 1 button press. So like for example, archery range should be on S, so barrack should be on A, but I'm so used to shift A, shift S, shift D, I can't really get out that habit. So but I recommend these are like 1 button presses. Go to dock, control D. This is also a very bad hotkey, but it's a bad habit. I need to get out of it. Dungeon, control N. Go to king. I don't use the hotkey at all. I remove it. I don't know, like, I think if you press go to lumber camp, I think it takes you to the mule cart. So I'm going to remove that, actually. I have go to monastery and control J for the relic reason. And then idle villager, very important upgrade. It is on my forward mouse button on the side. I recommend you actually use the same as me because I think this is really good. Because if you're like idling your vills, you press this button. It's so easy to press. I think it's really good to have. Go to siege workshop. I have on H. I just find it easy to press with my thumb. Go to stable and then go to town center. So I have select all town centers on 5 and go to town center on my back mouse button. I just find it easier to use. It's super easy to press and yeah. Group commands. These are all just default, except from control group 5 I removed because I have select all TCs on 5. Scroll commands, that's fine, just leave that default. This is all fine. Military units. So if you're new to the game, the most important ones to have is stand ground, patrol, aggressive, and box. So if you're new to the game, I would only really focus on patrol, box, aggressive, and line, I would say, and stand ground. The rest are a little bit more complicated. This is all preference, and I just like these because I find them easy to press, you know? I can press all these super easy. So if you want to copy those, you can. Zoom commands. Instead of mouse wheel down, I have control shift mouse wheel down. This is so I don't accidentally zoom in and out when I'm playing. I recommend this as well. Very important. Gate commands. I have a hotkey for locking and unlocking the gate. I never used to have this, but this is so useful. Just put it on Q. So we have archery range on X, barracks on Z, sorry. Cancel. I don't use cancel at all, so we can just clear that. Bombard tower. Okay, so my bombard tower build is actually really bad. It's actually the colon. I have to stretch my thumb so far to reach this. I don't recommend this hotkey. Blacksmith is on dot. I can press this. Okay, it's fine. But the bombard tower, I recommend you don't copy this because that's a terrible hotkey for bombard tower. I need to update this eventually, but at the moment I won't be. Caravanserai, that's the trade boost building, just on H, fine to press. Castle on J, super easy to press. Dock on Y. Dungeon on T. So we have tower and dungeon on T, which is fine because you cannot build dungeons and towers if you're Sicilians, so that's fine. Farm and pasture on B. Pasture is the new building that's coming with the new civilizations. Victoria on H. No civ has Victoria and Caravanserai, so you can put those both on H. House on Q, gates on M. You can copy all these if you want to pause the video at any time. I won't explain every single building, of course. Be here all day. Mule cart and R, super easy to press. Outposts on O. O's a bit further away, but you don't build too many outposts. For example, you build a lot of houses. So I have house on Q because it's super easy to press. You don't build many outposts, so the O can be on the other side of the keyboard, it's fine. Town center, I just use ASD, A for loom, S for wheelbarrow, D for town watch. Super nice to use. All back to work. I don't use that actually. I can remove it. I just use go back to work. I'll just scroll down these quickly. This is the new unique unit. So they put Stroman and the Lao Chan I don't know how to pronounce that properly, on the same command, because you cannot build Romans and the lose from the same civ, which, you know, makes sense, of course. We have trade cook on Z, transport ship on T, and unique warship on Q. Barracks, this is just standard stuff. Militia line on W. All of my first units in each production building is on W. So for barracks, my militia, W. For stable, my scouts, W. For the range, archers is W. So you can use the same hotkey for multiple different things. It's completely fine to do that. If I'm looking at my barracks and I'm pressing W, the militia comes out. So you have to be like looking at that building and press W for that unit to come out, if that makes sense. Same with the range, just, you know, first unit W, next unit E, next unit R. I think T clashes with set gather point, actually, thinking about it. So maybe this can be on, I don't know, X maybe? Yeah, slinger on X. That also works. Because I have set gather point on T, so I don't want this to clash. We have stable, same thing. Main unit W, next unit E, next unit R, C, F. Siege Elephant A. Siege Ram A as well, because no civ has Siege Elephant and Cap Rams. We can go Onager Heavy Rocket Cat on S, and then we can go Scorpion on D. And then maybe Hoofneats on F. So there we go. Those are some good upgrades. In the monastery, I just have Monk and the missionaries. I don't have anything else because I think this is too complicated to add for me. So maybe in the future, I might add some hotkeys for this, but for now, I just click them. Go to the market, trade cat and queue. I don't mess about with buying and selling wood on hotkeys because I feel like it's very easy to misclick that. If I'm in a game, I do not want to misclick my market, so I just ignore that. I just press it manually. This is all just the same as before. W, E. I have trebuchet on S. I just like it there. I even put conscription down. Maybe it's conscription on like X or something as well works. Or even like C, maybe. Go to the mill. Farm reseeding on S. Farm upgrades on A. Same with the mining camp. Same with the lumber camp. Blacksmith. I'm not using blacksmith techs, which maybe I should, actually. You know, we can just go back to the grid. We can put the attack upgrades on Q. Infantry armor on W, cav armor on E, arrow attack on A, and then archer armor on S. So now, then again, we're using the grid hotkey. So the top left one is Q, the middle one is W, the right one is E, and then the same for the bottom row. University, in most games, you won't even get these upgrades, right? But in a lot of games, you get ballistics and chemistry. These are the two most important ones in the university, so I just use these two hotkeys. We go down to Mule Cart. So wood upgrade should be on A, gold upgrade should be on S, and stun upgrade should be on D. So the only issue with this is, if you go to the mining camp, your gold upgrade is on A, and you go to the Mule Cart, your gold upgrade is on S. It's a bit awkward, but I think it's okay. It's very rare you have a Mule Cart civ anyway. Dungeon, unique unit W, speedman line E, very standard. Just to end off, I would say, make sure to get hotkeys that you like. Don't just copy my hotkeys because they're my hotkeys and I'm like 2k8 or something. Take hotkeys that you like and you're comfortable with. You're welcome to take mine and adjust them to however you like, but yeah, just remember hotkeys are personalized. They're all for you. Make sure your most important hotkeys are on the left side of the keyboard because that's where your hand normally sits. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you next time.